Hey team, it's Castles here. Today we're going to be going over another ZvP between me and Onyx. I know it's on the same map, because if you like that map, we've been playing a whole lot of ZvP lately. There was a different timing I sort of found about a month ago in the beta, or not, pardon me, not in the beta, in the PTR. And I wanted to find something that was like sort of arbitrary, that didn't have a whole lot of reasoning behind it, and just to push out on that and see what happens. And what I came up with is leaving your base with a 2-base all in, I guess, because every push for Zerg is all in, at around 10 minutes 30 seconds to about 11 minutes 20 seconds even, usually results in a kill. We're going to go over how exactly that works, what units to use, and as for what it works against, we see he'll be going Forge Fast Expand. This will work against Forge Fast Expand, it'll work against 4-gate, 6-gate, 3-gate Expand, and I guess you could usually say most airplay. And the reason it seems to be so magical and versatile is because you're basically just going to be getting a good deal of Roach and a good deal of Hydra with early upgrades. So we're going to saturate our first base, and the second one will go about 3/4 saturation on that, because since you're going to be attacking, you want to cut drones a little bit. So for the most part, we're not going to make anything until we know what's happening. So I don't see anything. I don't send a drone to scout. I usually just let my overlord do it, and then I'll do it with Lings again after. I've gone for a 14 gas and a 14 pool, and I get guys on gas right away because I want to go for Ling speed pretty quickly. So I still don't know what he's doing, and I'm not going to go expand yet, because like I said in the last video, I don't like to go bother the probe. I just would rather wait until Lings are out, because if he's going to make a pylon anyway, there's no reason to waste drone mining time on that. So we see in production he has a Nexus. He's gone for Nexus first. He has no units, no gateway, no intention of producing units, no forge. There starts the forge. My pool is almost done. And it looks like maybe I could pull something off if I just rush him with Lings, but it's not worth it. Don't get your heart set on that, or think you can take advantage of it, because it's not going to be able to work, and it's probably going to cost you a lot more than it's going to cost him to hold it. So we see I've got Ling speed going right away, because I don't know what he's doing still. And I wasn't entirely sure I was going to do this 10-minute push, as I sort of call it. I have my queen started as soon as possible, because it's imperative to keep that going. And after Ling speed starts, I take one guy out gas, because I want to be able to transition into any other units if I need. So now I didn't see a cyber core up here or a gateway, so I know, of course, he's doing a forge FE. He has a gateway going, and I'm not going to try and push into it. I don't want to get over greedy, because he'll have enough cannons or enough anything really to stop it, and that's just a dangerous way to risk a game. So I'm going to keep 2 guys on gas. I'm not just going to go all out on Lings, and pretty soon I want to get my expansion down, because I can't fall too far behind. Now when my queen popped, I used the first bit of energy to get a tumor down, because I would like to push him, and if you want to push a Zerg, you need a lot of creep to get your army going. So I send 2 Lings up to go scout. I see he does have he has a cannon. He's going to stop a lot of my scouting. I can't run anything by him, so I figure I'm just going to go poke his probes for a bit. While I do that, I'm producing another queen to go with my natural that's coming. You need to be really diligent about moving the tumor too. I can't stress it enough for this build. You want to try and get creep to around here, as far as you can really. And for most expand builds, they won't have an observer out, so you're going to be pretty safe on that, but it's always good just to get that as far as you can. I'm going for a pretty quick lair here, because I know I want to tech up to Hydra, and I want to tech to Roach. And I may want to keep using my mutas, or pardon me, my Lings. So that's why I have speed, and we're going to be getting a +1 melee after, which for this build should be +1 range instead. But that's just sort of what I thought I was going to do. I wanted to go muta originally, but once you get enough of the gateways out with the cannons, you have to be pretty careful. So I have an Evo chamber coming down to start early upgrades. Another Evo chamber down too, because I'd like carapace. And I'm just checking the layer, getting another gas. And my creep tumor has dropped over here as well, because the AI wants to split you and your army between the chasms. So if you can get creep on both sides, that's definitely a good thing to do if you're going to push. And if you make a queen early, it's going to have energy built up on it anyway, and you're probably not going to be transfusing with this. So just go ahead and send that out. I'm still waiting to get on gas. Perfect. I've got 3 back on my other gas as well. and I'm going to drone up pretty hard. We see he's got 2 gateways and he's starting +1 because he doesn't want to let his forge sit idle. He's probed up quite a bit, but he doesn't really have a whole lot for units. If I was to try and do a Ling run by or something on this, I obviously wouldn't be very successful at all, so there's no reason to even make the units. It really is just sort of a waste. Now I have +1 carapace and +1 melee because at the time of doing this I really wanted to go mutas, but then I scout in with my overseer and I see a Stargate and a Twilight. That's the perfect setup to stop muta Ling. So I think, I can't keep going with this. I'll let the +1 melee finish in case I need to switch, but I can't go with that build. You're usually going to find the first overlord you make, you want to try and hide it off and make it an overseer if you're not going muta for sure. And it's very critical. I saw this. Now I know exactly what he plans to do. He wants to annihilate muta Ling because he doesn't like muta Ling. And as we expect, he's going to chrono through blink. So we know if I just went mutas right now, it's not going to be very successful. So I respond because I guess it's supposed to be the responsive race with a Hydra Den and a Roach Warren. Now I'm not just making the Hydras to kill off any Phoenix or anything like that. They're great against blink, they're great against Phoenix, they're great against any threat of Void Rays as well, but they're an integral part of the push. You want to be pushing with a good deal of Roach, supported by enough Hydra to kill, in this situation, blink stalkers, but usually you just want to be careful in case they pulled out a Void Ray or something like that. So right now he's just finished his +1, and Warp Gate's just about done. He's tacking on a few more gateways. My Overseer's around here, and I know I'm going to lose it because he has a Stargate, and sooner or later it's going to get sniped. I contaminate this, but he's not making anything. But I tried my best, and that's all that matters. I'm getting Hydra range, and sooner or later will be Roach speed. And as we see, I've got a pretty good amount of drones here, and now I'm pretty much cutting drones. This is sort of the point where I decide I really just want to 2-base all in him. This is the timing push I use. It's got a huge win rate against a myriad of builds, and this one's sort of strange because not a lot of people will go expand into 1 Stargate blink, but he did want to be sort of careful for any mutas, so I'm going to push it anyway because this is that versatile of a build. So now I check my overlords. Okay, it's taking damage. I know that this is indeed real. He's not just making a Stargate to fool me and hallucinating something. So I know that, okay, I've got to be sort of careful about that. That is a threat. He's using it, which I should hope so. Now we see he's making a fleet beacon, and I'll go over that really quick while the game sort of warms up. I'm pushing up, by the way, too. This is sort of near the timing I want to get moving. He plans to make a mothership and a bunch of Archons, about 6 of them, and if you can Vortex the Zerg army and send your Archons into the Vortex, the splash damage from the Archon will one-shot the Zerg army every time. It's almost unstoppable. It's incredibly hard to beat. There's a few ways, and I might do a video on it, but it's not very popular, so I probably won't, but who knows. It doesn't matter. He's not going to make one this game. There won't be time. So as we see, I'm sort of waiting for gallery construction to finish. That's not really a key to move out because I was going to move out at this timing anyway, but it's very handy. I've completely cut drones, not making anything but roaches with the occasional Hydra. You want to go pretty heavy on the roach and keep the Hydras just sort of in case he has Voiders or something. Now we see he's just throwing down cannons because he had a lot of money, and we want to just rip through as much as we can. Blink Stalkers are going to do good effect here, but Hydra range is just a great counter to them. He's got +2 on the way, so that's going to finish while we've engaged. And I want to keep rallying units now that creep really comes into effect, because I want Hydras to deal with Blink Stalkers. They're tough, especially with this kind of a SimCity setup. They're tough against Roach. So I'm going to keep setting things up. I don't have it as far on the side as I'd like to, and luckily the AI hasn't split me up yet. So I'm doing a pretty good job here. His cannons are really helping out. He's got a good deal of gateways though, and quite a bit of money, but that's part of the build he's doing. Don't think he has terrible macro. It's a pretty complicated build that leaves you with ridiculous amounts of money, so I had so many cannons. But I just want to keep pushing up here, and just make sure to pull your units up with it, and bring your tumor up, just like that. Now it's looking like it's pretty much over for him. I've got, enough money, a little bit more than I would like, because I try and keep my money under 300. But if this was a regular game and I wasn't going to do a timing push, I would of course have a third and be producing off that, and it would be a different story. I'm not going to keep upgrades going or anything like that, and I'm not going to throw down a macro hatch especially, because if something was to happen, I mean obviously it won't now, but if anything was to happen and he did counter push me or something, or there were DTs in my base or something like that, because that was an option, I wouldn't want to have 300 minerals that I couldn't use. sort of the premise behind the timing push is that in almost all Protoss builds, they're going to be expanding at around, it seems like 9 minutes or something like that. But when you push, it's sort of that he's spent the money, but he hasn't completely regained from it, and it hasn't completely paid itself off. Now in this case, because he went like 14 Nexus, or very early Nexus, he was getting benefit from it, and I pushed anyway, and it works very well. Just because this seems to be just a weak timing for Protoss. So, and yeah, of course he had his mothership coming, but that wouldn't really help a whole bunch. That's pretty much it. It's very simple. It's gonna work against every expanding build Protoss will do, and I really like it against especially the 2 Starport or Stargate Phoenix or Voiders and stuff like that, because you're inevitably going to get Hydra and you're going to get Roach, and you can hold that off really well without losing a whole bunch. As well as if you go early Evo Chamber, like before Lair, if he's gone really fast Stargate and you haven't scouted it, once his Phoenix get in your base, you'll be able to go right into Spore Crawlers and you won't have to wait for an Evo Chamber to finish, which is just less net damage done to you. So it's usually, I don't know, I'm really getting into the habit of getting early upgrades, especially after 1.2. For this build against 4 gates or 6 gates, it's going to work really well just because you're inevitably going to be making a large amount of units no matter what he's doing for the most part. So if he's one base, you gotta scout it though, but if he's doing like an expand 6 gate, you're going to have units anyway, you're going to be able to hold it no problem. If you're sort of in doubt about what he's doing and you can't scout, this build works well too, because if he's doing, like, worst case scenario I find is if he's doing a 3-gate Void Ray push, that's a really, 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 really hard build to stop if you're not prepared for it. And if you're going to have Hydras anyway, or worst case scenario, be able to get some spores out, you're going to be able to hold that no problem. So it's a really versatile build. You can not attack with it and just expand and keep a big army, but you have to be able to get a Spire fairly quickly too, because he's going to be going into some sort of tech. That's pretty much all for the 10-minute push. I know it's not exactly 10 minutes, but it really does vary. Give it a try. It's surprisingly reliable, even if it seems sort of arbitrary. Anyway, thanks for the support, guys, and I'll probably make another video after this. See you on the ladder.